Podcast. My name's Marina. I'm recording in Bath, a city in southwest England, and this is a podcast about knitting and yarn and sometimes other making. Today's going to be a slightly shorter episode than usual just because I've still got a lot of work to get finished before Christmas, and I'm sure a lot of you will be spending time relaxing with family and everything as well. So today I'm just going to be talking about some of the things I've been making recently and what I'm currently working on. So first up is a project that you've seen before. It's my Rhombeel sweater from Pom Pom Quarterly Issue 16, designed by Gina Rockenwagner. This is actually probably very similar to the state you saw it in last time, but this is actually the back, and I have already done the front, and it's looking fairly awesome. Like, I'm very excited about this. Like, I love this sort of rusty colour. So the yarn is Mendip 4-ply in Fox Stormy, which is woolly rustic Shetland cross wool, and I'm holding it double with my Kaya baby alpaca yarn, which is fine and glossy and has a lovely fuzzy little halo to it. And together it's making this like fabric that's both drapey and sort of bouncy. It's really nice and squishy, and I love the texture. And it is really funny with this pattern that you just make it like, as I think most people think garments are made before they think about it properly. So either when you're a child or if you haven't made clothes before, you just kind of think it's like, yeah, you just make two jumper shapes and then sew them together, right? That's very rarely the case, but in this one it is, and I kind of find it entertaining and also really satisfying because I just have to finish off the back and then sew them together and it's done. I don't need to finish the neckline or anything. Oh no, wait, maybe I do. Yeah, I need to finish the neckline, but you know, it's no complicated seaming, no loads of picking up of stitches or anything. It's just really nice and straightforward. So I am hoping to have this one finished for Christmas. I realise that's like very, very soon, but because I've got a big work project that I'm doing at the moment. It's tech editing for a magazine. So I have sort of put all other projects aside until then, which means that I do have a bit more knitting time to be working on things at the moment. So I finished my black men's sleeveless pullover, which I was working on last time. I sent that off to the client earlier this week, and I'm sure that's going to be well loved. I was very glad to see the back of it. It's holding black alpaca yarn double, which means there's no stretch, no give. It's quite hard on your hands. It's really easy to split stitches, and it was just miles of stock in it. So I'm very excited to be able to work on more exciting things. So next in the queue, I do have a couple more works in progress that are just kind of going on in the background, but they'll be worked on once I finish this one. As I've said before, and people probably know, I'm not a monogamous knitter. I like to have lots of different types of projects on the go all at once. And so now I have a few gaps in my work in progress schedule. And so next I'm going to be designing a scarf using this yarn. It's again Kaya baby alpaca, which I was using in the Rhombeel sweater in a different colour. This colour's called Hippolyta. Oh, I didn't actually say. In the Rhombeel, the colour I'm using is Persephone. So all of the colours in this yarn range, I've chosen characters from Greek and Roman mythology. So we've got Hippolyta, Persephone, there's also Hecate, Medea, and Thetis. And I just really like these variegated colours. So with this one, I'm going to make a shawl. It's going to be sort of fairly geometric, and the only thing I'll tell you about the like shape and stuff is that it's going to have rotational rather than reflectional symmetry. I don't like things that are purely asymmetric, but I do like things with rotational symmetry. So instead of it being like, I don't know how to describe that. So instead of it being symmetrical like that, it can be symmetrical round like that, or yeah, that's a horrible way to describe that. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you're interested, look up rotational and reflectional symmetry, because they're really nice ways to play with things. And like reflectional is more obvious, but rotational can lead to really interesting designs. So I've just started doing sketches for this one, and will hopefully be casting on over Christmas. And yes, another thing I have been doing a bit of, quite a while ago I did a fair bit of natural dyeing and I loved it. I had a load of fun, but I sort of hit a wall with it because I did some playing, I did some things that I liked, and then I had some naturally dyed vibrant yarn that I was playing around with, but I didn't really take it any further. And recently I have started just very slightly playing around again. So I have a few things here I can show you. So this is one from my last experimenting from, I want to say like 2 years ago. So this is Shetland wool that's been dyed with avocado. You can see that it makes a really lovely sort of peachy, pinky colour, and usually not my colour at all, but there's something about plant dyes that just makes really satisfying colours. So yes, that was a nice little one. This is hand spun, and it's got a nice bounce to it. I really like how bouncy Shetland is. And then this time around, so last time I was just using kitchen scraps, whereas this time I have tried dyeing using plants from my garden. So this one, in my last episode you saw, well, if you've seen it, thank you very much if you did, I made calendula oil. And so this is dyed using some calendula flowers and also some dried marigold flowers, picked from my garden throughout the summer, that I then dry and have used for dye. And then this one was sort of a really lovely surprise. Like, I'd heard that you could dye with privet, and just kind of, I don't know, I didn't expect it to come out interesting colours because I thought it was using the leaves. But I noticed this year that they, well, partially because my hedge is very overgrown, it grows berries. So it's got nice little bluish black berries, and you crush them up and you boil them up, and it makes this really noxious looking dye stock that's sort of, it looks like a black oil slick or something. It's horrible. And I didn't know, like, I had heard that the colours can come out sort of bluey green or grey, and then it came out this lovely sage green, which is just so exciting. You know, this was using, this is about 15 grams of alpaca fibre, and that used like all the berries that I was able to forage at that stage. So I'm gonna have to be on the lookout for more, and well, my neighbourhood's full of them, so I'm not actually going to steal berries from my neighbours, but I can ask them once I'm on good terms with them. When I was a teenager, I went through a phase of being quite interested in henna, and so I had loads of henna, partially some that I had bought and partially some that people had given me because they heard that I liked henna, which meant that I ended up with a lot more than I ever actually used. And it's meant to only work well for body art when it's quite fresh. I haven't really experimented with that, so I wouldn't know, but I thought that because it's known for imparting colour, I could try using it as dye, and so I used some very old henna. We're talking sort of 10, 12-year-old henna here. And this is a skein of yarn that was given to me that was just, you know, plain white. It's lovely alpaca silk. It's very soft. And I dyed it with henna, and it's just come out this gorgeous sort of muted goldy beige colour, and I really, really love it. And so I've also tried dyeing some fleece with henna, which has come out a very similar colour, which is really exciting. But it's drying at the moment, so I can't show you. But it's very nice to just sort of experiment with things that I have. And I'm also saving up onion skins and tea bags just in my freezer in a couple of Tupperwares. And once I've got enough of them, I will start dyeing with them. So this, I thought I'd show you, is a scarf I made all from hand spun yarn that I've spun, using both naturally coloured fibre, so you've got some browns and greys in there that are from the actual colour of the wool, and then there are some plant dyed colours in there as well, which I just really, really like. And so it's all these subtle colours. So this one's woven, not knitted, because I haven't been weaving much recently, but I really do enjoy weaving, especially as a way to use hand spun yarn. So I really love this one, and it's got some amazing texture to it. There's a lot of soy fibre in there. That's sort of these ones. I don't know if you can see well there. So this here is soy fibre, which is very soft and creates amazing drape. So this is just really nice drapey, but also sort of bouncy fabric, and yeah, I really like it. Sort of slightly more rustic style, but it's a nice big scarf because I don't like small scarves. I don't like it sort of when you've got the end here and it keeps trying to shift over your shoulder and things, and not keen. So yeah, so big scarves, single skein shawls, not a fan. And yes, so one thing, oh, that's what I was going to show you, which is what just fell on the floor. This is a book I've been using for some very basic recipes and sort of what to look out for. So I've been looking out for books, not just on, you know, buy some crushed up madder root from a shop or the internet or whatever and use that to dye things. But also, you know, foraging for colour and growing dye plants in your garden is quite difficult to find that slant on things that's also UK based, because I would like to grow more dye plants in my garden because I really love that idea. It's very exciting. At the moment I'm planning just epic quantities of marigold and calendula everywhere. But you know, I'd like to be able to dye things that aren't yellow. But yeah, it's quite difficult to find resources on growing your own dye plants in the UK in a sort of native way. So this book has been a really nice way to start because it separates the dye plants out by UK, like native UK plants, and then ones that are available imported from other countries. And I'm very excited to plan some of the things I'm going to be putting in the garden next year to try and get some more colour. So I am going to look to try to grow madder. I realise that I won't be able to use it for at least 2 years, which is frustrating because I'm an incredibly impatient person. But if I start growing it in containers now, if I end up moving house, I'll be able to take them with me. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to planning a dye garden. So if you have any like interesting resources on plants you can grow in your garden that are good for colour, things that you can forage quite easily, or any, you know, if you know this stuff yourself because, you know, you're interested in botanical dyeing, I'd love to hear from you. And also if you you know of any printed or online resources, that would also be lovely. I mean, I have had a good look around and there is some good info out there, but it's having like a single resource that I can go to that's nice. But yes, so I've talked a lot. You can probably tell I'm a bit croaky. I think the winter is finally getting to me. Also, I've been to a few Christmas parties and have done quite a lot of shouting, so it's all good fun. I think I'm going to leave it there this week. Well, this month really, because I do them monthly. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I am sorry that I don't have more interesting, exciting things to show you. Usually I show a bit of making and how I do things, but as I said, I'm a bit short of time at the moment, and I really hope you've enjoyed hearing about what I'm knitting and natural dyes, and I look forward to talking to you in January when I will be back in full swing. And I wish all of you a happy holiday for whatever you might be celebrating. And yeah, bye for now.